Hello there lovely people, it's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and welcome back to Ask Alex, the show where you ask me your burning Nintendo questions and I do my very best to answer them. Super quick announcement before we get started though, we at Nintendo Life are hosting a gaming night in Cambridge on the 25th of July. It's in the UK of course, and it's being held at the Centre for Computing History, which is a lovely little venue that does quite a lot of these little sort of things, but we're taking the reins on this one. There's going to be loads of stuff happening. We're going to have retro gaming, there's going to be loads of Street Pass stuff, we've got a premiere of a film happening there, I'm going to be there, you haven't got any excuses not to go. Unless, of course, you live in a different country. You're still welcome to come along, but it's a bit of an expensive night. Now, kicking straight off with a big question, Bobby has asked me, what are my thoughts about the next Nintendo system being a hybrid unit? There have been a number of rumours going around about something called the Nintendo Fusion or something like that, and basically it would be a handheld device and a home console in one. The basic idea of how it would work is that you'd have this handheld unit which you could then sort of dock into a home console, and then you get additional power, you could play different games and things like that. And yeah, it seems like a fairly interesting idea and something that hasn't really been done before. However, there are some significant problems that I can see. For example, if you are not the only gamer in your house and you've got one of these handheld hybrid units and you take the hybrid unit off somewhere, that means somebody can't use the home system, which seems really selfish. You could argue that, yeah, you could use the home system then if you had a separate controller maybe, but then what's the point in having the hybrid system? It's similar to a lot of problems with things like virtual reality. I mean, yeah, it's fantastic. I've yet to have a go on it myself, but I just have to look at it. It looks great. But it's not very social, and that's really what gaming's all about, particularly from Nintendo's standpoint. Yeah, fantastic single player, absolutely brilliant, but it's the multiplayer that really gets people excited. And I think you'd all but sort of lose that with this sort of experience. Another question that comes to mind when I think of this as well is, why? There doesn't really seem to be any inherent advantage to having a sort of a handheld unit that you then dock at home. It doesn't really seem to make any sense. I mean, it would probably be cheaper, but apart from that, I really don't see any advantages. I think the thing is that it will be cool, and people like things that are cool, but I don't think it's practical in the long run. However, I've been surprised numerous times before, and if anyone can pull it off, it's probably going to be Nintendo. So we'll see. I'm not completely convinced by the idea, but it could work, I suppose. Quickfire questions now, and Martin has asked me, do I think there'll ever be a Legend of Zelda collection that contains all of the Legend of Zelda games in one convenient package? Given that Nintendo are really pushing this virtual console idea and this whole backwards compatibility, I don't think it's something that we're going to be seeing anytime soon. The fact of the matter is that most of the Legend of Zelda games are either available on the virtual console, have been remade, or aren't old enough to really warrant being remade, or anything like that, and it just sort of seems unsensible. Unsensible isn't really a word, but it sort of explains what I'm trying to get at. Nintendo have done things like this in the past, but that's before the eShop and Virtual Console and all that really sort of took off. So I think Nintendo are probably going to try and capitalise on the Virtual Console before we get anything like that. Neo asks me, what are Nintendo's plans for E3 this year? Now, obviously, I don't know what Nintendo are actually going to do for E3 this year, but I think it's probably going to be similar to what we had last year. Nintendo's performance at E3 in 2014 was absolutely fantastic. They blew everyone else out of the water. It was just stellar, everything you wanted and more. It was just such a refreshing way to produce things. It was a bit unconventional, but I think it really worked. So I think we're going to get something similar this year. Maybe it'll be evolved upon a bit, maybe it'll just be the same. We'll just have to wait and see. And finally, Arthur has asked me, why is it so difficult to find new 3DS faceplates in the UK? Now I think Arthur's referring to high street retailers and actually going out to a shop, buying something and taking it home. And yeah, it is really difficult in the UK at the moment. The only companies that I really know that stock the cover plates are Game and maybe Argos, I don't know. There may be some smaller games companies that are actually, selling them as well, but I've not found them, and it's really, 2 is not enough for the entire UK. I think one of the biggest problems is that Nintendo is not actually as popular in the UK as it is in the US or Japan or anything like that. It's one of their smallest markets. As such, it's not really in the interest of the retailers to stock loads and loads of these faceplates because people may not buy them, which is maddening to be honest, but unfortunately you're just going to have to stick with online retailers to guarantee you'll get them. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, why don't you gently caress that subscribe button, and be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thank you again for watching, bye bye.